Yeah, I think I actually noted this point down when I was making my presentation, because it's a very good point that the former president of Georgia raised. And it's linked to the point I'm raising, that we are for reforms, but the reformers themselves must win the confidence of all the stakeholders. And I think the issue of transparency and what he called evidence-based results are very, very significant. I mean, there's no doubt if transparency is defined as television coverage of biddings, of giving certificate for the new investors, of course I agree with the chairman that we actually have transparency. But there's also the other side of transparency people have seen. What we are seeing transparently now, and I've said so before, is higher tariff, little services. You know, tariff should be linked to services. If you do any other thing, it's extortion. You know, in fact, it's theft. And we can see some protests already happening in some places in which you ask them to pay more and they haven't seen it. You can't sustain reforms if we don't have concrete evidences of service delivery. And Nigerians are desperate for power supply. They are willing to get bought into this program, but it must be linked to service they can see. We pay more now, we can't see it. And our generators are still there. We're still spending on diesel. You know, for me, so this transparency should go beyond the fact that you've bidded, you've gotten the certificate, you are now the new owners. I think there should be transparent service delivery. At the end of the day, that's what Nigerians are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think the Shibodu should say a little bit about this thing.
This is a critical issue, actually. We're not surprised that. Yes, please.
I like that. Let me say this. I also had, and I think I mentioned, I started the issue about communication. And the public needs to know more, all across. I want to highlight one thing. There's nothing wrong with us on a daily basis or weekly basis publishing what is available as power for the whole country. There's nothing wrong with us publishing outages and the reason for those outages. But the reason why those things haven't come out is because when you talk to the typical environment where you are joining, so to say, they will tell you straight, the moment you publish, they will vandalize. In other words, and true, it does happen. And who is the they? The public. And I always tell them, and I used one example of those when they heard about, look, we're not going to be able to give you power for XYZ period for this reason. And some group went to vandalize, and I said, we'll leave you there in darkness for a while. When you vandalize, who is not benefiting? It is you. So let's start understanding the state of our environment. I think I agree very much with Comrade Aremu that we need to match service with pricing. But today's pricing, let me be frank with you, one of the lack of communication is we're not relating the price at which we generate, make our own private power generation with the price in the market today. We are generating power privately, all of us, at anything between 40 to 70 naira per kilowatt hour. Meanwhile, we are buying public, depending on where we're coming from, at anything between 5 and at best 12 naira. And nobody is asking what service do I get for that. Are you getting me? And how do I reduce me spending 40 naira, 70 naira? Is there something I'll have to give in return? What is the investment required? All that have to be communicated publicly with milestones like was mentioned. So there's a lot of communication we all have to do. There are too many vested interests that do not want things to change. I was listing here, I'm using this as the opportunity. Who are the interested parties? There's the regulators who want to regulate from day one. There's the labor who wants, let's continue the way we were. But the way we were didn't land us where we are. There are the contractors of the existing system who do not want their own system to change. There are various ministries involved in this, various, power, etc., who every day, every week, call us to Abuja on various meetings, for various meetings. There's also the presidency also who wants to make that thing happen. So they also call us for various meetings. There are the political opponents who use power as the basis to sabotage their fellow politicians. So depending on which side you are, various parties are trying to misuse the system. All these parties are communicating in different ways. That's why I'm bringing them out as communication parties. They are legislators. The House, in fact, the House is an interesting one. The Central House, that's the federal, is different from the state houses. And each one wants to communicate the way they see things happening. And each one wants you to go their own way. We're all not talking to each other and say, what is central? We want power. What are the key levers that are important for? But we keep on saying it's each party that is responsible. So communication among the public also, who have, regularly there's a phone-in program in Edo State that people phone into listen, and every day is about electricity. Every day is about electricity. So the public wants results, but they are not even understanding the issues fully on ground. So communication to me is the most important, and bringing out everything transparently, good and bad. So it puts everybody on the toes. Those are my own feedback to you. Thank you.
Okay. I think there's an issue around information management, communication, that we need to thoroughly dig into. Now the question on the board is, it appears that the real issue in moving forward is finance, because even the gas issues ultimately require finance to resolve. Should the FGN/CBN not therefore open up a big window to provide concessionary debt guarantees to the new private power asset owners? This question is by the Honorable Commissioner, Economic Planning and Budget, Lagos State, Ben Akabuezi. Well, the chairman is pointing to Mrs. Oshubodu. Well,
finance is not a serious issue for all of us that are investors. It is that the finance will not come if the base structure is not right. For several of us, we already have what I'll call the financial backing, both either from financial institutions or from internal purpose. But the equation must balance. And there are many things that don't yet balance. So the second most important, which is mentioned there, is gas. The gas issue is also a pricing issue, which if it doesn't balance, does not start the flow. And if the flow that's the process to generate the power, does not start, the end result of providing power for people to pay won't happen. So the financial side is just a facilitator, but that facilitator needs an environment that creates the base for that money to come in. I can see several bankers here. They will tell you that they are ready with the money, but make sure that you balance. Thank you.